You know how it goes. Empires rise and empires fall. It's a story as old as time. But what if I told you that one of the world's oldest texts might actually hold the formula for why that happens? A blueprint, really, for how power is won, how it's kept, and how it can all come crashing down. So today, we're going to dig into China's ancient book of documents to see what it tells us about the ultimate form of job security, running a country.
First off, let's just wrap our heads around the timeline here. I mean, these ideas weren't just thought up one afternoon. They were forged over thousands of years across dynasties that lasted for centuries. We're talking about going back more than 4,000 years, right to the dawn of Chinese civilization. These weren't just kingdoms, these were entire eras, each one learning from the successes and, more importantly, the failures of the one before it. And you know what's wild? Through all those centuries, they were wrestling with the exact same questions we still ask. What makes a leader legitimate? Is it just because of who their parents were? Is it military power? And on the flip side, and this is the big one, when does a government get so bad, so toxic, that people are actually justified in tearing it all down? That's the puzzle at the heart of this ancient text.
So to find the answer, the book doesn't just give us a bunch of theories. Nope, it gives us a story. A really brutal case study, actually. The fall of the Shang dynasty. It's a story about how one person's character can become a full-blown national crisis, and how the suffering of a nation can literally echo in the heavens.
So let's meet the villain of our story, Zhou, the last king of the Shang. And this is how the book introduces him. It's not about bad military strategy or a poor economy. No, it paints him as a moral catastrophe. His problems weren't political, they were personal, and they were about to drown his entire kingdom.
And here's the crucial link. The king's personal failings didn't just stay behind closed doors. They became public policy. Every wild party, every cruel impulse, it was all funded by the pain and suffering of ordinary people. In this way of thinking, a leader's character isn't just their own private business. It is the business of the entire nation. And believe me, the text does not hold back with the details. We're talking about burning critics alive, committing just unspeakable acts of violence, and literally cutting the heart out of a wise man who dared to give him advice. The record says his corruption poisoned and sickened the whole world. This wasn't just bad government, it was a total reign of terror.
Okay, so this is where a political problem becomes a cosmic one. In this worldview, the cries of the people didn't just disappear into thin air. They were a signal, a kind of cosmic alarm bell that reached all the way up to heaven. The people's suffering wasn't just a tragedy, it was an offense against the entire natural order of the universe. And when heaven gets indignant, well, things are about to change big time. So out of all this cosmic anger and earthly suffering, this revolutionary idea was born. It became a justification for rebellion, sure, but it was also a deep theory about what makes a ruler legitimate in the first place. They called it the mandate of heaven. Think of it like a divine performance review. Heaven gives a ruler the job, the authority to govern, but it is not a lifetime appointment. It's totally performance-based. If you're a just ruler, you care for the people, you keep order, you get to keep the mandate. But the second you become a tyrant like Zhou, that mandate can be taken away. And this creates a really clear pattern, a cycle. A good leader overthrows a bad one, starts a new dynasty. Awesome. But over a few generations, his descendants get lazy, corrupt. The people start to suffer, which is seen as a sign that heaven is not happy. Then a new hero rises up, declares the mandate is lost, and boom, the cycle begins all over again. It's such a powerful idea. Rebellion isn't just treason, it can be heaven's will.
You can see how brilliant the framing is, right? To make the rebellion seem legit, the new guys couldn't just say King Shang was a bad leader. No, they had to paint him as an enemy of the cosmos. And in contrast, the new leader, King Wu, wasn't just some conqueror. He was heaven's chosen champion, sent to restore balance to the universe.
This quote here is so important. It makes it crystal clear that heaven doesn't play favorites. It doesn't care what your family name is. The mandate isn't something you just inherit like a piece of furniture. It is a meritocracy based on morality. Power is the reward for being a good person, and for that alone.
Okay, so if your right to rule depends completely on your moral character, how are you actually supposed to act? Well, luckily for us, the Book of Documents pretty much lays out a practical guide, a playbook really for any leader who wants to stay on heaven's good side.
It really boils down to three pillars. First, reverence. You gotta have respect for heaven, for your ancestors, for tradition. Second, compassion. The text is really specific that a ruler has to protect the weakest people in society. Your number one job is to care for the people. And third, humility. A good ruler has to listen to criticism, admit when they're wrong, and surround themselves with smart people, not just yes men.
So the bottom line is simple, but it's also profound. Real legitimacy, real power, it isn't found in your armies or your treasury. It's found in your character. A leader's morality isn't just some private matter. It's the actual source code of their power, and it's what determines if their dynasty will survive.
Now, as you can probably guess, an idea this revolutionary, the idea that any ruler, no matter how powerful, has to answer to a higher moral standard and can be overthrown, well, that is incredibly dangerous to a tyrant. And history shows us just how threatening this idea really was.
Let's jump forward about 1,000 years to this date. A new, absolutely ruthless emperor has united China. He's the founder of the Qin dynasty, and he's a man who does not want any competition when it comes to authority.
In this year, he did something shocking. He tried to literally erase history. He ordered the destruction of all the ancient books, especially this one, trying to wipe out the very idea of the mandate of heaven. He didn't want anyone getting any bright ideas that his power was conditional. I mean, the fact that he was willing to bury hundreds of scholars alive just to destroy this idea, that shows you just how powerful it was.
But you can't kill an idea. You just can't. Despite the book burning, the text survived because scholars had memorized it, risking their lives to pass it on. And its core message endured. This quote really says it all. The fate of an entire nation, for good or for bad, can all come down to the character of one single person.
So here we are, thousands of years later, and this ancient blueprint leaves us with a question that's just as real in our world of presidents and prime ministers as it was in the age of emperors. We might not call it the mandate of heaven anymore. Maybe we call it the consent of the governed, or public trust, but we're still asking the same thing. What truly gives any government the right to rule, and what is the price of losing it?